What is going on, guys? Bam Deadstroke back. My computer has had a hell of a time trying to get this to work. So I'm going to try to make this quick, but we have got a lot of Planeswalkers to get to in War of the Spark. This video is going to talk about the uncommon ones that have been spoiled so far. Starting off with a new character, Teo the Shield Mage. I believe it's a new character. 3 mana, 2 and a white for a Planeswalker that starts at 5 loyalty. Seems really good. It also gives you hexproof, and its -2 creates a 0/3 white wall creature token with Defender. I could definitely see this being a part of an anti-aggro deck. There will be an Ajani in a later video that I will talk about that could also help with that. The one downside, of course, being that these uncommon planeswalkers do not have a plus ability. It just subtracts loyalty. There's no addition. I think that's a really cool addition, sort of the flavor-wise of Nicol Bolas basically just killing all of them. So Teo the Shield Mage, I think definitely is one of the better ones in my opinion. The ability to give you hexproof to, avoid burn spells, avoid, stuff like that, definitely could make it see play if burn tries to get under the planeswalker strategies that I'm sure will be prevalent in the War of the Spark standard. So Teo the Shield Mage I definitely think could make an impact. Next up we have Angrath Chaos Captain, if my computer would load it. Again, I apologize. I have a real shit computer, so I'm going to try to get through this as quickly as we can. There we go. Angrath Chaos Captain. 4 mana with the hybrid black-red for a 5 loyalty planeswalker. Creatures you control have menace, and his -2 is amass 2. So you put 2 +1/+1 counters on an army you control. If you don't control one, create a 0/0 black zombie army creature token first. So I think amass is just unplayable. I haven't seen any payoff for it, and for it being an army you control, for it to just be one zombie token doesn't seem. I mean, I feel like there's got to be some sort of payoff for this that we just haven't seen yet. Because, a -2 on a Planeswalker to essentially make a 2/2 with Menace just isn't. That's not something that you want to see on a Planeswalker. So hopefully there's some bigger payoffs for playing Amass as an ability. Does not seem very good to me. Angrath, I do not suspect we'll see much of any play unless there's a very big, very good Amass payoff to play, which I don't see happening. Angrath, I think it could be good in like some zombie commander or something that's like Grixis or something like that. But as far as standard play is concerned, Angrath I do not suspect will be on anyone's radar. So go ahead and leave this one out. Kaya, Bane of the Dead, is the third planeswalker that we're going to talk about here. 6 mana for a 7 loyalty planeswalker. Your opponents and permanents your opponents control with hexproof can be the target of spells and abilities you control as though they didn't have hexproof. So Kaya sort of hard counters Teo that we saw earlier. Basically taking away hexproof. This is very similar to Detection Tower that was just recently printed, except it's just constant. You don't have to activate an ability or anything. And then you get the added bonus of having a -3 to exile target creature. So for 6 mana, 7 loyalty planeswalker that takes away hexproof and gives you the ability to exile one creature per turn for 2 turns seems like it could be okay. I feel like Kaya is kind of one of those planeswalkers that really dips in value given that there is no plus ability. Just because you can only use this twice and then she gets down to 1 loyalty. So the chances of you using the -3, taking her down to 4, and then being at least 3 loyalty for your next turn seems very low. However, if you can keep her, if you have a way to like blink Kaya, or if you have a way to reset the loyalty counters, or a different way, much like the Ajani that we'll talk about later, to add loyalty counters without having an addition ability, I think Kaya could definitely be an under-the-radar planeswalker to look out for. Just the ability to exile creatures seems really good. And you get to do it once per turn, and you take away Hexproof, which could see, which could be very, very good for this upcoming set. So Kaya, I would definitely have. It's on the fringe, especially given that it is 6 mana, which is quite a bit to pay. I would keep my eye out on it if there is some sort of black-white deck that comes out, some black-white control or something like that. I would definitely look out for Kaya. I'm going to have it just under that sort of unplayable line. Just 6 mana is a lot to play, a lot to pay for a Planeswalker. But she's definitely right on the fringe there, so keep an eye out for Kaya. Next up we have Samet, Tyrant, Smasher, the Gruul uncommon Planeswalker. As we'll see here in just a second. We're getting there. I guess I can close out the tabs that we're done with. Maybe that'll help this go along a lot smoother. So how have your guys' days been? Mine's been pretty good, other than my computer being stupid. So this is what it's like. You guys are finally getting to see what it's like to have a bad computer and trying to be a YouTuber. But we're fighting through. So Samet, Tyrant, Smasher, as you can see down there at the bottom, 2, and then 2 hybrid mana, so 4 total mana to play. For pretty cool art there on Samet. Basically her sort of static ability, I guess if you want to call it that, gives your creatures haste, and then her minus ability, her -1, target creature gains +2/+1 and gains haste until end of turn. So if I don't understand the double haste here. It seems weird to me. So, I think it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. There's also a card that costs 1 red mana that I believe is an instant that gives target creature +2/+1, gains haste, and then you scry 1. So I think it's weird that her ability that you get while she's in play is creatures you control have haste, and then her -1 gives a creature haste. So I'm a little confused on that one. Samet, obviously very powerful, giving it the buff and being able to scry in red and green gives it some more flexibility that normally probably wouldn't be there. So if there is some sort of aggressive Gruul deck that comes out of this, or people are still playing like dinosaurs or something like that, Samet could definitely see play. However, given the what's currently being played, I don't think Samet is good enough. It is only a -1, but you can still only use it once per turn, I believe, is still the rule. That would be my guess. Excuse me. So I just don't think Samet is good enough by herself. Now, again, there could be some support that makes this relevant. Of course, we are just in day 2 of spoilers. So, Samet definitely could see play, but I just, the double haste, if this was target creature gains +2/+1 in first strike or double strike, then definitely I would 100% see this as being playable. But just giving it +2/+1 in haste, people are going to have, haste is definitely a really good ability, but I assume people are going to have blockers, or they're going to have planeswalkers to try to deal with. And I don't think Samet does enough. Even if this was gains haste until end of turn, and then this was like deal 1 damage, I could even see that being a little bit better. But I would have Samus below the playable line. But I'm definitely looking forward to see what all of these planeswalkers do in some jank brews. Definitely look out for some jank coming from my side of the thing, from my side of the deck, and the whatever. I'm running out of words to say. Next up, we've got the Wanderer, another new character, new planeswalker. 4 mana for 5 loyalty, prevent all non-combat damage that would be dealt to you and other permanents you control. So again, very similar to Teo, in that it sort of gives you that sort of hexproof type ability. And this one also includes other permanents you control, which is definitely beneficial. With burn spells being able to target planeswalkers, being able to target creatures, and removal being able to deal with your artifacts, I definitely could see the Wanderer seeing play. It also has the benefit of exiling creatures with power 4 or greater, so it deals with larger threats. Stuff like Carnage Tyrant that will definitely see play. Hydroid Crisis, big Hydroid Crises being able to be dealt with for 4 mana and 2 loyalty. Seems relatively good. Again, you do only get 2 uses out of it as there's no plus ability, but I do think the benefit of preventing all non-combat damage to you and permanents you control, I think that's got enough upside. I would definitely see this in play as a playable card in mono white, so you could splash it if necessary. I think something like a green white sort of hexproof or a green white Super Friends style deck, something like that, could definitely come into fruition with cards like the Wanderer and Teo that we've seen, as well as the new Ajani that I'm gonna get to it in the rare video coming up later today. So I could definitely see the Wanderer seeing play. This is definitely one to look out for. Pick up copies when and if you can, and it is an uncommon, so definitely more common to get than the rares and mythics. Moving on, we've got one of my favorite planeswalkers, Simek, like the one non-control color pairing that I play, obviously with Merfolk and my blue-green lands deck. Does Kiora fit in either of them? Well, doesn't fit in Merfolk. I will tell you that right now. Very disappointed that this card does not go into Merfolk very well. However, this does fit well in some sort of blue-green ramp style deck. A blue-green ramp, a blue-green adept type deck. It starts at 7 loyalty for 3 mana, which is incredible. Incredible that it starts at 7 loyalty. That alone should be good enough to get you well on your way. Card advantage, whenever a creature with power 4 or greater enters the battlefield under your control, draw a card. So it's got the added benefit of card advantage. And her -1, you get to untap a permanent. So you get to ramp. It's this card, and notice that that's a target permanent. So any mana dorks that you have that you could untap, like what is it, Gyre Sage, that taps to add 2 mana. So you could play that on 3, play Kiora on 4, have 1 mana open, untap your Gyre Sage, and then play a 3-drop. So Kiora, this card, I know I'm Simek biased, but this is a card to look out for. It's a -1, so if nothing happens, if you can't put any loyalty on it, if you keep it protected and nobody ever focuses on it, you get to use it 7 times. 7 times you get to untap a permanent. So say you attack with everything, then you can untap one of your permanents, one of your creatures, to leave it back as a block. This card, I'm telling you guys right now, Kiora Behemoth Reckoner is going to be Behemoth Beckoner. Sorry. This is going to be a card to be reckoned with. This card is fantastic. 3 mana, 7 loyalty. Big threat right out of the gate with the ability to untap permanents. This is one to look out for. Definitely one of the better uncommon planeswalkers that we've seen so far. As a matter of fact, I'd put it as number 1 of the cards that we've looked at so far. I don't think it's the best one that is left. I think there's one uncommon that's better than this one that we will get to here in just a minute. But Kiora Behemoth Beckoner, keep your eye on this card. This card is good. I will definitely be playing with this, seeing what decks it fits into. And also, you can put this in a mono green deck because you've got the hybrid mana if you wanted to. Or you can put it in a mono blue deck, which, you know, we'll see what happens. So, moving on from Kiora, we've got Arlyn, Voice of the Pack. Another really interesting addition. Arlyn, of course, back from her stay on, what was it, Shadows over Innistrad, Eldritch Moon, something like that. Back a little ways. 6 mana for 7 loyalty, so the most expensive converted mana cost of the planeswalkers that we've seen so far. Each creature you control that's a wolf or werewolf enters the battlefield with an additional +1/+1 counter on it. And her -2 creates a 2/2 green wolf creature token, which, as we just read, will enter as a 3/3 or a 2/2 with a +1/+1 counter on it. So I definitely think Arlyn could see, maybe some play if there's other wolf and werewolf support. I would definitely feel a lot better. There is, I believe, Arlyn's Wolf is a card. It's like a 3-mana 2/2 or a 2-mana 2/2 that can't be blocked by creatures power 2 or less, which doesn't seem great. It's very good and limited. But this card is, again, just on the fridge. Again, 6 mana is just a lot to pay. Excuse me, Kaya was also 6 mana. 6 is just a lot to pay for a Planeswalker that you can only tick down. You can use it 3 times, so you get 3 3/3s at max without adjusting her loyalty up at all, which definitely is a threat. And, 7 loyalty is a lot of loyalty to deal with if you're only -2. So then they'd have to do 5 damage to, kill her. And you've got a 3/3 blocker. So 6 mana is just a lot to pay. And I think getting a 3/3 out of it as well isn't quite enough. It is interesting that this is mono green. So I wonder if there's just going to be green wolves and no red. Because as her last card, it was 2 red and a green. So it was both colors. I think this one, Arlyn is just underplayable. Again, very similar to Kaya. Just that 6 mana is a lot to pay for something that you're not. There's no real ultimate. Like, there's no real ultimate to the Planeswalkers at Uncommon, and you're just pumping out some tokens, pumping out some dorks, to sort of block for Arlyn, to get out more dorks that will block for Arlyn. And, just doesn't seem... Again, I could be completely wrong. I don't know green super well, but I could be totally wrong on this. So let me know what you guys think. I think Arlyn is just underplayable. I don't think that the 3/3 wolf token with the... or 2/2 with the counter on it is enough to put Arlyn over the edge. Next up, we'll move to what I think is the best uncommon. This one, Ob Nixilis, the Hate Twisted, and Kiora, to me, are by far the 2 best. So, Ob Nixilis, the Hate Twisted, whenever an opponent draws a card, Ob Nixilis deals 1 damage to that player. So, without doing an ability, Ob Nixilis is already doing damage. They're going to draw a card every turn. For every turn that Ob Nixilis is out there when they draw a card, going to deal 1 damage. And then, -2, destroy target creature, its controller draws 2 cards. So, you could basically destroy your own thing and draw 2 cards if you really needed to. Or, let's say your opponent's running low on cards, or they've got a big threat, or they're really low on life. You can destroy one of their big things and make them draw 2 cards, which makes them take 2 damage. So, I think Ob Nixilis is one of the better ones. Now, obviously, you hate to give your opponent free cards, especially for, just the low price of 1 damage. But I think this is going to stack up. I think that there is a way, especially with the new Jace, that I'll get to in a minute, that you could make some sort of blue-black mill type, everybody's drawing a bunch of cards type deck. I'm thinking, my brain's working, trying to get some stuff figured out. I think this card is really, really good. 5 mana, a lot to pay. Obviously, I think Kiora's definitely got the advantage there. But I think the just static ability, I guess, I don't really know. I don't know all the key terms and all the big terms. But I think just, this is going to destroy me. Play this against me. I'm going to draw all the cards and take all the damage. Just play this against me and you'll win. Maybe that's why I think it's so good, because it works well against everything that I want to be doing. It kills every idea that I have with drawing all the cards. So play this against me. Play this against your blue players. Shh, I didn't say that. Play this against all your blue friends, like myself. They will hate you for it. And they won't have any creatures to target. So he's just going to stay at 5. He's just going to stay at 5, and he's going to deal a bunch of damage with them drawing all their cards. So I think Ob Nixilis is definitely going to see play. Again, 5 mana is a lot. It is a lot, I know. But I think this one's the best uncommon. A lot of people want to draw cards, and Ob Nixilis is going to punish you for it. So I would have Ob Nixilis number 1 right now as far as the standard playable Uncommon Planeswalkers. Moving on, we have what I think is the most modern playable, or at least the most fun modern playable, in Vraska's Swarm Intelligence. So 4 mana for 5 loyalty, pretty good rate there. So whenever a creature you control with Death Touch deals damage to a player or planeswalker, put a +1/+1 counter on that creature. So the first thing that comes to mind are her Black Assassin creature tokens with Death Touch from her previous installments, I guess, her previous cards. And they're back again this time. Create a 1/1 Black Assassin creature token with Death Touch. And whenever this creature deals damage to a planeswalker, destroy that planeswalker. So this assassin just kills planeswalkers. However, it's been pointed out, I'm not the first one to do this, I don't want to take credit. I saw MTGGoldfish tweet this out, Saffron Olive, I saw him tweet it out. And I've also seen it on Facebook. People are talking about using Vraska's Swarm Intelligence with Basilisk Collar, I believe that's what it's called, and Walking Ballista. So you put Basilisk Collar on Walking Ballista, you ping your opponent for 1 with the Walking Ballista, and since this doesn't say combat damage, it just says whenever a creature you control with Death Touch deals damage, you put a +1/+1 counter on it. So your Walking Ballista deals 1 damage. Since it's got Death Touch because of the Basilisk Collar, you put a +1/+1 counter on it, and then you just ping your opponent infinitely until they're dead on the ground from your constant pinging of them. So Vraska, I think, is going to be really fun. People are already going to be building that as just a fun modern deck. I would like to build that. It seems like a fun deck that I would kind of play. But as far as standard, it is a 1/1 that it makes, and on turn 4, playing a planeswalker at 5 and then making a 1/1, bringing her down to 3, doesn't seem super great. You could play this with something like shoot, the name is escaping me right now. The 1/3 that makes your creatures with power or toughness 1 or less unblockable. You play this in like some sort of Sultai deck or something, make the 1/1s unblockable, something like that. And then, but then of course they become 2/2s. So then they kind of lose that. So I think it'll be interesting to see what Vraska does. I don't think this card is particularly good in standard. There's that fun modern combo that I'm sure people will try. But as far as standard, I do not think Vraska is entirely good. And finally, we're finally there, folks. Thibault, you sexy son of a bitch. You have returned in the worst way possible. I don't really know. Thibault, 3 mana, 5 loyalty. Pretty good. Not quite Kiora's going right, but 3 mana for a 5 loyalty planeswalker. Makes your opponents can't gain life, which is pretty good. Red, you don't want to let your opponents be gaining life against you. So, who knows? Maybe this will find some shell in something, I don't know. And -2, create a 1/1 red devil creature token with when this creature dies, it deals 1 damage to any target. So, your typical 1/1 red devil creature stuff. Even when it dies, it hits you. Thibault, I hate to say it, buddy, but I do not foresee too many decks playing you in standard or in much of anything. Maybe, you know what? I think Rakdos doesn't hit devils, so we'll put Thibault and Rakdos in a deck, and we'll go with it, and we'll just call it Kill Everything, and we will just kill everything. And that's what Rakdos wants to do. So, you know what? Sure, why not, Thibault? We're going to get you some standard play. So, that covers it. This video's gone on for far too long. I'll be doing the rare and mythic planeswalkers as we go along. I just wanted to put out a freaking video because it's been way too long. I apologize for my computer being slow and it almost crashing like 6 times. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video anyway. If you want to see more preview videos, be sure to drop a like and let me know in the comments down below. If you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe and click that notification bell so you get notifications every time I upload a video, which, given that War of the Spark is now preview season,